Welcome to the deep dive. We take a whole bunch of sources, dig through them, and pull out the key insights you need. Usually find some surprises too. Today we're tackling a pretty big mission, actually. We want to explore this question. Can we really make learning as compelling, as, well, engaging, maybe even downright addictive as things like social media or mobile games? You know, the stuff that just grabs our attention. Yeah, and our main source here is a really great TED Talk by Louis Fanon. He's a technologist, the guy behind Duolingo. And he had this huge challenge building it. Like, how could an app about education, verbs and nouns, possibly compete for your time against giants like Instagram or TikTok? But what's amazing, and what we'll get into, is how Duolingo kind of flipped that. They actually use some of the same psychological tricks those addictive apps use, and they managed to make education something people, well, genuinely want to do every day. And doing that, they're also making education way more accessible, democratizing it globally. It's quite something.
It really is a fascinating story. And when you unpack his talk, you see this unique mix of deep computer science smarts and this really powerful personal motivation. We'll uncover some really insightful bits about how this psychology of engagement can be used for, really meaningful stuff.
So, yeah, the big question for this deep dive is, how do you take let's call it the broccoli of learning,
Right.
and make it taste like the dessert of entertainment? Let's jump right in.
Okay, so to really get Duolingo, you kind of have to start with Luis Fonon's own story.
Yeah.
His background, it really shaped everything. He's from Guatemala, which he describes as a poor country below Mexico.
He has that funny line, calls it Mexico's Mexico.
Right, just making sure people know it's not Guantanamo.
Yeah. But he makes this really powerful point early on. He noticed that while we often think of education as this great equalizer, in many poorer countries, he saw it actually doing the opposite sometimes, creating more inequality.
Well, the rich can afford really good education, right?
Yeah.
Which helps them stay rich, pass it on. Meanwhile, the poor might struggle even with basic literacy, and it just keeps them stuck.
And that hits close to home for him. He wasn't wealthy growing up, but his mother, a single parent, she basically poured everything she had into his education.
That sacrifice was huge. It's what allowed him to come to the U.S., go to college, and eventually get a PhD in computer science from Carnegie Mellon, a top school.
Wow.
And that whole experience, you can tell it just lit this fire in him. He talks about deciding maybe a decade ago that he had to use his skills, his background, to try and give everyone, truly everyone, equal access to education.
So it wasn't just some academic problem for him.
No, not at all. It was personal, a mission.
Okay, so he's got this massive goal, equal access to education. But, I mean, education is huge, right? Where do you even start? Did they think about math first or something technical, given his background?
That's a great question. And yeah, you'd think so. Computer science, math stuff they knew really well. But they made this kind of surprising choice, especially if you're thinking from a North American perspective. They chose foreign languages.
Foreign languages. Okay, that is unexpected. Why languages for such a big mission?
Well, there were a few really solid strategic reasons. First, just the sheer size of the audience. There are something like 2 billion people around the world actively trying to learn another language. That's inside schools, outside schools, everywhere.
2 billion. Wow.
Yeah. And here's the kicker. About 80% of those 2 billion people, they're learning English.
Okay, that makes sense. English is key in so many places.
Exactly. And that ties into the second big reason, the direct economic impact.
Right. This is a crucial point he makes.
Totally. Knowing English in most countries significantly boosts your earning potential.
Yep.
Right away. He gives this example. I think it's a waiter, right? If a waiter learns English, they can maybe get a job at a hotel, serve tourists.
And earn more money immediately.
Precisely. It's a direct link.
And that's different from, say, learning math, isn't it? He contrasts those.
Yeah, his point is just knowing math doesn't automatically get you a better job. You need to apply it, maybe learn physics, become an engineer, whatever. It takes more steps.
But with languages, especially English in many parts of the world, the benefit is almost immediate. You learn it, you can use it, you can potentially earn more.
Right. That immediate ROI makes it super compelling for learners, very practical.
Okay, so massive audience, clear impact with languages. But then how do you actually deliver this education? Not building schools, obviously.
No, definitely not. That was the next big decision. Use mobile phones, smartphones.
Which seems obvious now, maybe, but back then.
Well, it was pure pragmatism, really. Trying to build physical schools everywhere, just way too expensive, too complicated logistically. It wouldn't scale to reach everyone.
And smartphones were just becoming, well, Ubiquitous, weren't they? More and more people globally were getting them.
Exactly. Most people already had one or would soon. It's meeting people where they are. The scale you can achieve is just mind-boggling.
So that's how Duolingo came about. Mobile-first, accessible language learning.
Yep. Born from that commitment to access and leveraging the tech that was already spreading.
All right, so you've got the platform, the phone, you've got the subject languages, but how do you make it truly accessible? Free for everyone, rich or poor. This is where their business model gets really clever.
Yeah, the freemium model.
Right. So the basic idea is you can learn as much as you want completely free. But there's a catch.
Well, yeah, you see ads, usually at the end of a lesson.
Okay.
But if you find the ads annoying or you just want to support the platform, you can pay a subscription fee, turn the ads off.
Pretty standard freemium stuff so far.
Yeah.
But here's the genius part, isn't it? Where does most of their money actually come from?
Overwhelmingly, it comes from those paying subscribers. And those subscribers, they tend to be, relatively well-off people in wealthier countries, the US, Canada, Europe.
And this funds the whole operation.
It does, and this leads to what Van On calls this sort of wealth redistribution.
Explain that.
Essentially, the richer users in developed countries are effectively paying for the education of the millions of users in poorer countries, Brazil, Vietnam, Guatemala, wherever, who are using it entirely for free.
So the people who can afford it cover the costs for those who can't.
Exactly. It creates this really equitable system. It's self-sustaining and everyone benefits. It's quite a clever setup.
It really is. So smartphones mean reach, freemium means access for all, funded by the wealthy. Sounds like they cracked it, right? Problem solved.
If only it were that simple. Here comes the, as Van On puts it, the humongous problem.
Which is?
Those very smartphones are also loaded with what he calls, I think the phrase was, some of the most addictive drugs humanity has ever engineered.
He means TikTok, Instagram, mobile games.
Exactly. All that stuff competing for your attention constantly.
And he uses that great analogy, doesn't he? Trying to deliver education on a phone?
Yeah, it's like trying to get someone to eat broccoli.
When there's this incredibly delicious dessert sitting right next to it.
Right. It's just this constant battle for your attention. And let's be honest, education usually loses that battle.
That's the real crux of it then. To make this whole thing work, to really deliver education to everyone, it can't just be available. It has to be desirable. People have to actually want to choose the broccoli sometimes.
And this right here is where Duolingo gets really interesting. This is where they started figuring out how to make the broccoli taste, well, more like dessert. They started using those very same psychological techniques, the ones that make social media and games so sticky, but applying them to get people hooked on learning.
Okay, let's get into those techniques.
Yeah.
What's the first big one? I think it's the streak, right? Seems so simple.
Deceptively simple. A streak is literally just a counter. How many days in a row have you used the app? They display that number really prominently, maybe put a little flame icon next to it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And what happens is people get weirdly attached to that number. They really don't want to lose their streak. If you miss a day, it resets to 0.
And that's a surprisingly powerful motivator.
Hugely powerful. He shares this stat. Over 3 million daily active users have streaks longer than 365 days a year.
Wow. 3 million people doing language lessons every single day for over a year. That's kind of insane.
It really is. It taps into that basic human thing, right? Loss aversion.
Yeah.
We hate losing something we feel we've earned.
Yeah, definitely. We've all felt that pang when you break a streak on something.
And apparently Japan has the longest average streaks for educational apps like this.
Oh, interesting. And who has the shortest?
Latin America, according to his talk. Fun little cultural tidbit there.
Okay, so streaks are huge. What else?
Yeah.
Notifications. Right. But not just any notifications.
Right. We all get bombarded with notifications. Most are annoying. But for something like learning, people often actually want reminders. So Duolingo built this sophisticated AI system. Its job is to figure out the perfect time to send you a notification and what to say in that notification.
To maximize the chance you'll actually come back and do a lesson.
Exactly. They test everything, different messages, different times.
And what did all that sophisticated AI figure out was the best time?
It's almost funny how simple it is, the best time. 24 hours after you last used the app.
Seriously? That's it?
Pretty much. The logic is simple. If you were free yesterday at 3 p.m. and did a lesson, chances are pretty good you'll be free again today around 3 p.m.
Huh. Sometimes the simplest answer is the best, I guess.
Seems like it. And they are responsible about it too, which is good.
That was so.
They don't just keep bugging you forever if you stop using it. After about 7 days of inactivity, the notifications stop. They don't want to be spammy.
Oh, that's considerate. But then they added another twist, right? The passive-aggressive owl.
Huh. Yes, Duo the Owl. This is brilliant. So if they're about to stop sending reminders because you've been inactive, they send one last notification. And it basically says something like, hey, these reminders don't seem to be working. We'll stop sending them for now.
Oh, wow.
And the effect is kind of amazing. People feel like Duo, the little green owl mascot, has given up on them. They feel guilty or maybe just noticed, and it actually makes a bunch of them come back.
That is some next-level psychological nudging. And Duo the owl himself, he's become this whole internet thing, hasn't he?
Oh, totally. He's a meme lord. His sort of passive-aggressive, sometimes vaguely threatening persona.
Yeah, like the memes where he shows up in your window if you miss your Spanish lesson.
Exactly. Or the SNL skits. There are thousands of memes. Duolingo, through Duo, has actually kind of broken into pop culture. It's incredible brand awareness, all built around engagement.
So they're using streaks, smart notifications, even guilt-tripping owls. All the tricks from the addiction playbook.
Pretty much. But here's a really crucial point Van On makes. He's realistic. He doesn't actually think an educational app can ever be truly 100% as engaging as something like TikTok.
Right. It's hard to compete with, endless cat videos and celebrity gossip when you're trying to teach irregular verbs.
Exactly. There's an inherent fun gap, maybe.
But, and this is the hopeful part, it doesn't have to be.
Precisely. That's the key insight. It doesn't need to be quite as engaging. Why? Because learning something gives you something that mindlessly scrolling through Instagram doesn't.
Which is?
Meaning purpose, a sense of accomplishment. You feel like you're improving yourself, not just killing time.
Okay, so that inherent value of learning itself provides some motivation.
Yes. He figures that intrinsic meaning provides maybe the extra 10 or 20% of motivation needed. So if the app can get you, say, 80 or 90% of the way there with its engagement tricks.
The inherent value of learning bridges the gap.
Exactly. 80 to 90% engagement is good enough. And that's a really powerful idea, I think, for any worthwhile activity, not just language learning. You don't need perfection, just good enough engagement plus meaning.
That's a great takeaway. And the impact they're having with this good enough approach is just huge, isn't it?
It's staggering. He shared a statistic for the U.S. More people are learning languages on Duolingo than in all U.S. high schools combined.
Whoa.
Seriously. And he says that pattern holds true in most other countries, too. It's reshaping language education on a massive scale.
So what's next for them? What's the future vision?
Well, Louis van On's big hope is to take this approach, this Duolingo method, and apply it to other subjects, things like math, physics, especially subjects where repetition and practice are key.
Makes sense. Things you learn by doing.
Right. He does add a little caveat, though.
What's that?
He acknowledges this approach might be harder for subjects that need a lot of explanation, where you really need someone to, explain a concept.
Like watching a video.
Yeah, exactly. He mentions CellCon and Khan Academy as being really effective for that kind of learning. Duolingo is more for the practice and memorization side.
Okay, so different tools for different learning needs.
But his bigger vision is really about changing how we see screen time. Instead of it just being this negative thing, this time waster, what if screen time could be this incredibly powerful tool for delivering high-quality education to everyone?
Regardless of how rich or poor they are, right there on the phone they already have.
Exactly, that's the dream.
So wrapping this up, the core idea from this deep dive seems to be that, wow, you really can use the psychology of engagement, the stuff we usually see in games and social media, and apply it strategically to things that really matter, like learning. It can fundamentally change our relationship with those activities.
It absolutely can. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? If they can make language lessons this compelling, what else could benefit from this make the broccoli taste like dessert approach?
Like what? Personal development.
Yeah.
Fitness.
Yeah. Or maybe even things like staying informed about civics or sticking to healthy habits.
Yeah.
Any positive behavior that requires, regular effort and repetition. Could we gamify those things to make them stick better for more people? It's a really provocative question, I think.
Definitely something to chew on. And maybe, just maybe, we should all listen to Louis van On's final plea from his talk.
What was that again?
It was something like, please, pretty please, I beg you, do your language lessons today.
Gentle but firm.
Exactly. So maybe check out the app if you haven't. See these ideas in action for yourself. It's quite something.